Our showrunners and co-creators, Marissa Tancheron and Jed Whedon. He plays Deke, Jeff Ward. She plays Yo-Yo, Natalia. You know the Miss Fitzsimmons, Elizabeth and Ian. Agent Ming, now where? Whether she's Sky, Daisy, or Quake, Chloe Bennett. Woo! Oh, Henry, where are you? And I guess that would leave one seat left. Agent Focus. We're going to do something a little different. We've got Henry is the other out there somewhere in the dark. We're going to have Henry roll some clips for you guys. We're going to be going through each season and asking our gang about their favorite memories, both from that time or anything that they would like to do. Because this is really about a celebration. There's also one more thing that we would like to celebrate. And now that everybody's out here, it is Jed Whedon's birthday. Can you guys please? Let's sing happy birthday to Jed Whedon. Come on, there's 7,000 of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Marissa Bacon.
We have so little time, not worth it, but thank you.
And so we're going to start it off with season 1. Henry, turn the crank.
I swore an oath. We all did. To serve when everything else fails. To protect the world against the much weirder world. To be humanity's last line of defense. To be the shield.
Agent Coulson has requisitioned a mobile command unit.
This isn't a combat op.
And you don't need me.
I do, because we'll be running ourselves. Making the ops, making the calls, no red tape. How? I was killed. Well, almost. Some say it was only for 8 seconds, but afterwards, it's kind of a blank. Tahiti's too good to be true. It's a magical place.
What happened in Tahiti?
You were dead for days. Director Fury had a team of scientists working around the clock.
I wanted to die.
And we should have let you.
This is S.H.I.E.L.D. There are always secrets.
It's gotta be some sort of activation signal to Hydra members within S.H.I.E.L.D.
Are you Hydra?
Eric!
We got a wolf in the herd the whole time.
Don't trust
These vials contain the raw materials of whatever Jesus used brought Coulson back from the dead. We're blood brothers.
We are not agents of nothing. We are agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that still carries weight. Hydra is out there. We cannot let them win.
I can't believe you shot Lola.
I can't talk about it.
Now, I'll be unstoppable.
Hey guys! I found it! Told you to be in here. Fury always said, a man can accomplish anything when he realizes he's a part of something bigger.
You want me to start over? Rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D.?
What is this place?
I call it the playground. It is an honor to meet you, sir. No, we don't have much, but what we have is yours, Director Coulson.
Clark, tell us how it all began.
Oh, wow. Season 1 is a magical place. I'm kind of breathless from that. I was struck immediately by, this has been such an incredible journey that only happened because when I stepped on this stage with the cast of The Avengers in 2010, I think, not long after that, I was dead. And this really nice guy I had just met up in the green room named Whedon called me a little later and said, we think you might not be so dead. And he passed the show on to his brilliant brother and sister-in-law, Marissa Tencho and Whedon, and they have taken us on this incredible ride that's changed our lives. I gotta say, just watching that made me tired. And I saw people like the amazing Ron Glass, Bill Paxton, people we love who passed, people who are still perfectly fine, like BJ and Britt Dalton, who pretend passed, but we miss them also. It just, to see how that all came together and to see the kind of birth pangs of starting to put that together and to realize a couple of days into it, wait, we're supposed to do this again next week? To me, that just felt inconceivable. And in addition to these people on stage and Mr. Loeb and the incredible writers who really found a way to do something with what they were allowed to have within the Marvel Universe, I stand in awe of what they've contributed. But the show wouldn't exist without the very vocal, passionate people, many of whom are still here, who started something called Coulson Lives. So we're very moved about the end of this particular journey, and I'm very personally deeply grateful to those people for the incredible ride they sent us on. And there's a person who's here who somehow every week makes another one of these spectacular things happen against all odds. We don't know how he does it, but he's the producer of our show, Gary Brown. Gary, please.
Gary Brown! Stand up, Gary Brown! Stand up, Gary!
Thank you, Gary. You're the secret director of S.H.I.E.L.D., so thank you.
Jen and Mo, is there anything you'd like to share from those very early days?
I mean, it's crazy to watch that thing. It's like
just being reminded of everything that has happened.
I know, because partially we are literally remembering it when we see it. Go, oh yeah, we did that. But also, you have this memory of shooting it. Do you guys all have that, where when you see the person skid across the floor, you remember how long it took to get the shot? And, you know, those early days, none of us really knew each other, and we were, as Clark said, finding our footing, and that was sort of the foundation that all this was built on. As he said, every week we kind of had to make a mini movie, and we spent a lot of hours together. It's sort of the beginning of our friendships and lifelong friendships. So.
Yeah, our whole journey together, just being reminded of how it all began. We we had our last table read on Monday, and within the script, they had put our first call sheet from the pilot, and that got to me, and I just remember, you know, we always talk about how when we were shooting the pilot, we never imagined, every time we're here, we said we never imagined getting to season 4, season 5, season 6, and now it's season 7, and now it's really hard to believe that we're at the end. So I'm just so proud of everyone up here, all of our writers, Mr. Gary Brown, who's helped us get this show done, and to all of you. I mean, obviously without you, we wouldn't have made it this far, so thank you.
Well, like you guys have said, the amazing part of finishing an episode was realizing, oh, we have to do more. Henry, what happened in season 2?
It's really a retrospective, guys.
There we go. Henry, turn the crank. First year, that second year becomes the thing that somehow doesn't come up to it. Somehow we surpassed it. How did that magic happen in season 2?
There were a lot of reasons, but what I was really struck by watching that was not just our core cast, but this was the year we also expanded and we had Henry Simmons showed up. And I remember that and how we thought, okay, this is the star who's going to be with us. And then we had Bobby and Hunter, and then we had Kyle MacLachlan, and then we had, you know, Edward James Olmos, and we had Ruth Nega, and we had all these amazing actors show up and come in and play with us. And watching our cast with them became one of the great treats for all of us. And then the other thing about that for me was bringing the Inhuman idea in and watching Skye become an Inhuman. I think Chloe will always remember that night because
I hated you that night.
Yeah, because we have a camera called a phantom camera. It's going 1,000 frames a second, and to do that you need to have like light twice, 3 times as bright as this, and she has to like mind this as she's crying, as she's having feelings, and then it was an amazing thing to watch this young woman really step up and become this fantastic actress in that moment. It was really one of
And you had to do it really fast. Do you want to show us?
Can I say something about that shot? The shot, that L'Oreal shot, that shot, just like that. Because it was so fast, you have, because it's so slow, you have to do the action really fast.
Show us.
So Jeff comes up and he goes, so you look at BJ, he died, and then look at Ruth, and then you see her come, and then the power happens, and then you would get emotional, but I had to do it in 5 seconds. So it had to be like I had to go like this, back, and then like this, and then cry. And I literally, when you told me that, I got so frustrated with the physicality of having to do like such a technical thing while getting emotional that I actually was crying because I was so frustrated. So those tears are just out of frustration. So I just ruined it for you.
No, it was amazing because it really is. People don't appreciate how. I mean, you guys, all the cast are so fantastic on screen, but I don't think people realize how technical a lot of it is. Not just with stunts, but with it, having to do something really complicated and have feelings. It's the ultimate walk and chew gum on camera on a high rep. So I remember that night more fondly than you do, but I also remember feeling really proud of that moment.
Absolutely. Can I say one thing? Throughout the journey of the show, we're kind of calculating, living through the stuff we've been through. The ship that you see up there lives in giant storm-tossed seas. That's just the nature of the story. And so we tend to feel like that most of the time. And a ship that doesn't have ballast and a keel quickly overturns and sinks in constantly tumultuous waters like that. Jeff Bell is our keel, is our balance, is the good-hearted man who has really kept us all sane. I don't think we would have made it this far without him. So give it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Meg, season 2, we found out about the Calvary. What's some of your memories from that time?
It was great to finally understand what the cavalry was, but it was really horrific that I had to kill.
Without knowing?
Yeah, they don't tell us very much. And then when they told us that it was because she kills a little girl, It was really a tough, tough thing to wrap my mind around, and yet it made so much sense why she closed herself up. But looking back at this, what I want to say is that the people behind the cameras also contribute so much. It blows my mind when I see it again.
You have to throw a quick jet into the ocean.
Yes, Mark Kolpak and our PhysFX team, our stunt team, the props, the makeup, the hair. It's just so remarkable that we made that in 8 days. No, not. Every episode in 8 days. And I don't think that we would have really forced ourselves in every department to do something so miraculous if it wasn't really for you guys. And I'm getting a little emotional just recalling all the years and all the stuff that we have actually done together, and it's just to entertain you guys, but it is such a family, and it really is, and it's so miraculous when I look back. It's so crazy to have like all those years like happen in snippets of seconds, but it brings back a lot of memories.
We've always referred to the show as it was about a group of characters that, whether they knew it or not, were looking for a family, and what made this group and the cast and the crew and the writers somehow found out how to be a family, both on screen and off screen. And that's really, again, another testament to you as the fans who really shared that with us.
She's really... I'm fine.
Sell on eBay, not a Wick.
Maybe we should get the cameras would never cry like this, Yeah.
And we should probably explain, just to give you context, that as Marissa mentioned, we had our final table read. We are airing season 6, but right now we're shooting the very last episode right now, and so a lot of us are feeling this. We came in with this energy of "Hi, good to see you." Because we're going through that. We're having this experience right now, and you should know that part of the reason we're really enjoying this is that we're going through what the characters are going through, which is, this is our last mission together.
And the dragons look amazing.
Well, speaking of our next mission, let's take a look at season 3. Henry?
Let's get some tissues, maybe.
Can you guys kiss again?
What'd you say?
This has happened before and he kissed Jeff Lowe, right? So be careful.
I'll kiss him again right now. I will though, seriously.
Yeah, I know. Elizabeth, this was the season.
You're blushing?
Elizabeth, this is the season that we stranded you on a planet and did what S.H.I.E.L.D. does not do often, but does something that is extraordinary, where we just change everything up. And this was primarily you alone for an entire episode. Would you like to talk about that experience or anything else you want to talk about?
I got to kiss someone new in the episode. No, it was good. It was amazing. It was lonely. I did miss all my best friends. But it was cool. That was a crazy shoot, and we were out in the desert, and Gary Brown, we were there together. It was fun. I never thought it would happen, and then when it did, I remember you sitting me down and saying, "Hey, we have this idea, and we don't know if we'll get to do it, but we're going to tell you about it anyway." And then we were out there shooting, and I had a lot of lines to learn, and it was great. But just seeing that played back, it was so crazy. I remember so many moments of that season so clearly now watching it. Yeah. I remember you, Chloe, in the Zephyr, and that moment that we saw Lincoln blow up, and it was just oh my God, just watching, and then watching that there, I was like, you just did that all day.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Again, I feel like we just torture you, maybe. But that was just so brilliant. I remember being so just bowled over by that. And yeah, it's just crazy thing. Yeah, I had a good one.
It is, it really feels like we're watching a,
This is your life?
yeah, well, it's really weird because it doesn't feel like it, and then it does. It feels like we shot that 900 years ago, but then also yesterday. That's
Yeah, as soon as you see it, you're like, oh, you remember exactly what you were doing.
The other gut punch one for me was the Spies Goodbye, and that shot of Henry holding the, the shot glass.
I wanted to get Henry. You had joined the cast and had come in with Bobby and Hunter, and then Bobby and Hunter had to move on. What was that like emotionally for you, and just in general, joining this insane group of folks?
It was, I didn't know a damn thing about the show, I'm quite honestly, before that, But, no, I'm telling the truth. It was, I knew right away, it was an experience that was very unique. It was something I had never done before. But in particular to that scene, The Spies Goodbye, it was very emotional for me because those two I was and am very close to. So it wasn't just me acting, it truly was me saying goodbye to two friends that I'm not going to see on a consistent basis. So there was an extra depth of emotion there for that scene. It was my way. I took it personally. It was my way of saying to them how much I love them and how much I'm going to miss them.
Thank you, Nathan. Just as a follow-up, Henry, did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you came on the show as essentially the mechanic and are now the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Hell no! I mean, come on. I mean, when I first came on, I was recurring. I mean, Jed, you even said I came on, I was just supposed to be there for Fitz to help him out, and then they would decide whether they'd cut me.
Well, no, we were like, we're gonna give Fitz like a big mechanic friend. And then we cast Henry. I remember the first time we framed up on you, you're working in a car.
I was like, he needs to stay.
Yeah, the camera pans over. The camera pans over and everybody at Village just kind of went, did you just hear money?
No, it's true, and we all talked about there's this shot of him working, and he's wearing his flannel shirt, and he's leaning forward, and he looks up, and we all went, ka-ching!
And then, do you remember when we came and talked to you at the end of that season?
Oh, I won't forget that. These guys, what they do is before they kill you, they call you in and say, we need to talk to you. So I remember Jeff Bell and Jed were walking down the lot. They're like, Henry! I ran. Hell no, you can't tell me! You can't kill me. But they gave me the news and I was over the moon.
Yeah, that was a good
dream come true, honestly. But becoming a director, look, I don't want to take all the time. But becoming a director, I mean, it was never would I think that. I mean, honestly, just a mechanic, working on some cars, and things gradually grew. They got me out there. I got my shotgun axe. I said I got my shotgun axe. And then Colson died. Someone needed to step up. And then they gave it to me. Thank you. Thank you.
There you go.
What's so lovely about this panel is there's still more. We got to season 4. Let's see, take a look at what that looks like.
Some stuff happened in that season.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, my chair's
Natalia, I remember being on the set the night that you and Henry had to shoot the scene where you had to take him back from the framework, and you both believed in hope. Can you talk a little bit about working on this and that in particular?
That scene was one of my favorite scenes to shoot in this show because, you know, when you read the episode, as some of the guys up here were talking about, you don't really fully understand the filmmaking aspect of it. You, as an actor, you understand the story, and I didn't know that we were going to be bawling our eyes out for 5 hours, and having to pause in the middle of crying, hold the tear, and have them remove a table because things started to disappear around us, and it took a lot of Billy. And it was the final scene of season 4, and we were there. I didn't know if I was going to come back. I wasn't a Sears regular, and the wrap party was waiting for us, and it was just really special to close that season and be the final scene and be around the crew. I think it was probably one of the first really emotional scenes that I had. Share it with Henry, have the whole loss of his child. That was such an important part of Mac's story. So that scene is, I always remember it as one of my favorite for sure.
And Ian, we saw a whole other side of you. We saw Amanda Fitz when Leopold emerged. How was that to be basically the big bad of the season?
It was pretty fun. As I was saying that, Elizabeth went, "Don't say it was good." She knows me so well. No, it wasn't fun actually. You go home at the end of the day, and it wasn't a nice feeling to be acting like that all day. And then I suppose we'd been split up before, but I've always been so paired up with Elizabeth that it was bizarre. What's that song? What's that song that's like, don't know what you get till it's gone. Just be like sitting on my bed crying, listening to that, thinking of Elizabeth, because we didn't have any seats together anymore. So after that, I didn't take it for granted anymore, did I, Elizabeth?
No, you did not. Well,
that's it. That's all, folks.
You were amazing as Leopold, though. I mean, I was a bit scared because we didn't see each other for ages.
Didn't see each other for a long time.
And then I remember just seeing the back of you in that suit, and I was like, oh my god, yes! It scared me a bit. Because you were really good. I have thought a little bit differently about you since. Just because you've obviously, you know, got a little bit of evil in there.
I think if we all stay silent, Elizabeth, we'll just keep on going.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're welcome. I was thought that as a compliment. I meant that to be a compliment. That you were a good actor.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. What was he good at? What was he good at?
Don't.
It's not sexual, Nick.
It's not.
How'd you get out?
I don't know.
And we should probably take a look at season 5.
I think the audience doesn't want a clip right now. They want this just to keep rolling and see where it goes.
That's why we're rolling a clip.
But just really quickly, don't you think that we are partly responsible for Gabe Luna now playing the Terminator because of Ghost Rider?
And not only that, you are very responsible for Gabe Luna playing Ghost Rider on
your
Hulu,
show,
which will be
yeah.
starting up. So he'll be returning as Ghost Rider on Hulu.
This is my fault.
Jeff Ward.
Hi, Jeff Lowe.
This is where we found you in the future. What was it like joining this cast in season 5 and continuing on in season 6 as you have miraculously returned?
Yeah, it was crazy. I obviously, these guys all know I was cast as a different part. I was cast as Virgil, who gets claws through his face in the second scene he is in. And so I thought that I was going to be there for one day, and then I ended up coming back. And
Well, then he killed the table read so massively as the guy who gets clawed in scene 2. And another person, I guess, wasn't available or didn't work out, and we were
we had never found it. We were still looking.
Yeah.
And then
We have we've done a lot of episodes of this show, and we have people come in every week for a new table read and come in and read, and usually we're shooting and half of us are covered in blood and we're tired, and we do the table read and we hear this story out loud and then we leave. And people die all the time on the show. Jeff came in, was this one character that died, and I've never heard a table read. No one ever reacted like that. When he died as the other character, everyone went, no! We didn't know who he was at all. He came in and he just stole the part, and immediately you just wanted more of him, and he's been such a wonderful addition, and we love you.
I owe all of them a lot of money for saying that, so that's...
Paid me.
Well, it's funny because as I, and then they were like, okay, you're doing 3 episodes. And I was like, amazing. And then it was, you're doing 4 or 5. And then it was amazing seeing the part where it blows up white light, because we were doing that episode. We did the table read for that episode, and I got blown up. And right afterwards, one of our ADs, Jocko, took me back into the office, and he goes, hey man, I just wanted to show you. And it was a wall of headshots with huge X's all over all of them. And he was like, see how many people died on this show? You're in good company. And I was like, oh, so I'm dying. Okay, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know I was gonna get pulled into this room and told that right now, but cool. And yeah, appreciate that. And then usually when someone dies, they kind of give them an applause at the table read, like, thanks so much for being here, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get that, so I was like, it must have really, they gave me that part, I must very much regret it. But, and then they were like, no, you're coming in the next one, and then it kind of went from there, and it's, I'm trying not to get emotional. It was crazy, because I fell in love with all these people, working with them and being with them every day, and they're all such talented artists, and really care about what we're doing, and care about each other, and it comes from the bosses, down to Clark, to Ming, to Chloe, to, everybody sitting up here is everybody's took me in a way that they really didn't have to, and it's when you're coming onto a show that already exists, it doesn't usually work out that way. So to be taken in by this family in that way, and now 2.5 years later, I love all these people very, very much, and to watch all that, it's crazy.
I'm just happy that I used to have the biggest laugh on set, and when Jeff came along, he took that crown. It was awesome.
Everyone constantly tells me to stop.
You can tell, you know when they're on stage. You can hear, when Ming's around. You can hear it in the distance. Ming's here. Now Jeff fits in the same category.
And they also, everybody, the character started to change so much because of
Zima.
Because they wrote me that amazing scene, and that kind of, I think, started to shift where the character went a little bit, and turned him into what he is now, which is crazy. And, but it's been an honor to be part of this. I'm really lucky.
So Clark, as we are getting closer to wrapping up, I think it's sort of right and honest to talk about the end of season 5, where we really thought that was going to be the end, and so you got to finally say goodbye to Agent Phil Coulson. What was that like?
It was, the episode was called The End. As our family that's out there knows, we never know when we're shooting the end of the thing if we're going to get another season. Kind of felt like we weren't sure if we would, and it was an episode where Coulson is, he's not entirely unhappy because he's stepping onto the sands of Tahiti with someone who's going to make it very magical. If you know what I'm saying. Sorry, that was immature, I apologize. Too late for that, right? But what was written was really beautiful and really a culmination of a lot of stuff, and what happened with Ian was incredibly moving. And as everyone has said here, the membrane between the fictional story and our real lives gets very thin, and there's a lot of history and love, and we've been through a lot of stuff together. So saying goodbye and saying I love you to Chloe, I couldn't even rehearse the scene. I just said, put tape down where we're supposed to stand, turn those things on, because it's going to get messy. And it was an amazing episode to shoot, and nobody was more surprised than me to hear about Sarge. Just trying to give you a segue, boss.
It is a segue into, I think we're going to try to pull something off here that I don't know we're going to be able to pull off. We have a few minutes to do some Q&A, and when I mean a few minutes, we have like 3. So we're going to do a lightning round. So these are questions that you ask that can be answered with a yes or a no. So whatever you think you're asking, think about it so that we can get as many people as we can. So go.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Hi.
Sit down.
My question. Wait, let me ask. My question is, during the 5-year gap and the events of Avengers Endgame, where were you guys?
These stories take place before that happened. Thank you. Next.
Good question now. Next.
Would there be a clean-up scene and
Will there possibly be a spin-off for Quake and Simmons since they were out in space for 6 months?
Yes, please.
Good question.
Great question.
I will say
Yes.
that, I will say there's been some very, very little, but some talk about a comic book following that storyline. So.
What?
There's talk about the adventures in space. Some of our writers.
Crazy that.
Okay, and this is where a lightning round turns into storms. Next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, no. Yes. Wait.
Is Daisy ever gonna read that letter that Coulson wrote her?
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Okay, next.
I love your outfit.
Look at that. Snap, snap.
Is Sarge an alternate version of Coulson?
You know what?
Anything he said? What did he say?
Sarge the ultimate.
I think that's another stay tuned.
Listen, I think you have to stay tuned.
That's another stay tuned.
I think that there's an episode on Friday night.
Friday night that will answer some of those questions.
Yes. Next.
Will Fitz and Simmons get married again?
Good question.
Sure.
Will Fitz and Simmons ever take Deep to Scotland?
Aww.
In the comic book.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, for sure.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes? Okay. Hi, is there any chance that we're going to see any of the agents in the Marvel Cinematic Universe post-season 7?
None of us know.
There's
We don't know. That we don't know.
always a chance. Anything can happen.
Yay!
Oh, these guys.
Hey, just wanted to ask, is it true that season 7 will be the most awesome season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet?
Yeah.
100%.
And I am being told by this blinking clocky thing that we're out of time, but we cannot say goodbye without also giving you a little bit of something that no one else has seen, which is next trailer is a hint of what is to come at the end of season 6. Of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I share with you, this is the flagship show of Marvel Television, and it's the show that I love most.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for Marvel Television's Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all our creative team and cast for our show. And let's hear it for our guest moderator, Mr. Jeff Lowe. Coming up next in Hall H, his
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave